Broadcasting from the Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado, Solutions Review is on location at Commvault GO 2019. Brought to you by Commvault.
It's Doug Atkinson, and we are here back at the Commvault GO Expo Hall Village. We're in the middle of their customer conference, and one of the best parts of being in a customer conference is we get to talk to customers. And we have a great one here, and that's Cory Heikel, who is the System Engineer Lead for Penn State Health.
That's correct.
Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
I love talking to customers because you have the best perspective of all for our audience in terms of how you went about it, you know, where you were, and I think you mentioned that you've been with Commvault for a couple of years now?
Yeah, a little over two.
A little over two?
Install.
So what I always find interesting is how you went about finding Commvault, and just walk me through the process.
Okay.
What 2 years ago, I mean, you were with another vendor?
Oh yeah, we were with another vendor, had been for almost 20 years.
No kidding. And so you decided you were gonna take a look at some of the options out there?
Right, we have, we're kind of an interesting business in that we're a hospital, we're a college of medicine, and we do a lot of research. So our research areas pump out data at an incredible rate. And they were really beginning to interfere with what we were doing on the clinical side, which is, you know, what we must have now, and
Sure.
It's got to be there. So we went looking for another vendor, you know, that we thought would be good at handling these large amounts of data. And other thing that was important was the indexing and the archiving, because right now, you know, the data just sits there on disk.
Yep.
And we're talking petabytes.
Yep.
So we looked at three and really liked what we saw from Commvault. And you know, they worked really hard to get in and make the deal and get it closed. So we brought them in just for that specific niche.
And so did you? So I want to talk more about, you know, you choosing Commvault, but I'm curious about just prior to that. Did you have a bake-off? Did you kind of go through? What was the selection? How long of a cycle was it? Would you say? Once you kind of got going.
It took probably about 8 months.
8 months. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, we looked at several
Good,
different
thorough.
ones. Brought them in, did trials with everything.
Yep. So you looked at three, including your existing,
Yes.
and so you ended up selecting Commvault.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, again, with regard to, you know, our audience, a lot of people are going through that process. How did the onboarding go? You know, what did you learn? What did you
Okay.
experience?
The onboarding went really great. We've got, I think, one of the best VARs in the country, and we actually brought them in. They were in for 6 months to do the initial setup, and then several months of knowledge transfer. And the system's been very stable, and you know, I got to plug the VAR. But.
Well, you know what? We hear that over and over again. It's like there are three moving parts, right? There's you, there's the solution that you select, but there's also that partner in the middle,
Right.
who really, you know, if that partner isn't strong, the stool doesn't hold up well.
Right, and the nice thing with the way that works is I've got my VAR, they're kind of like my firewall between all the contracting and everything.
Yep.
So I can sit down, I can deal with the technology, and they can work out everything else on the side, because I don't care what it costs. My management cares what it costs, but I wanted to do what we need to do to protect the data, and it absolutely has.
It's great. That's great, and I think it's an interesting perspective for everybody to bear in mind. Is that third element that really needs to be thought through, and obviously they need to be strong with the solution. They just can't be any partner. They have to have, you know, deep experience.
Absolutely.
And you know, one of the things that we see in the village here are a lot of partners participating, and I think Commvault has been very partner centric. But along the lines of the implementation, how are you using Commvault right now?
Well, like I said, we brought it in for that niche category, and we're almost now finished with our conversion of everything from the old system into Commvault.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
And so it's been 2 years, or a little more than 2 years, and now you're here. So what are you hoping to pick up at an event like this? Because these events are becoming very pivotal with regard to how customers begin to get exposed to things that they might not typically know about.
Right, and that's why I'm here.
Right.
You know, I want to go. I've gone to a few very specific things that I had some technical interest in, but a lot of what I'm doing is walking around and saying, "Oh, what's that? Can I touch it?" You know,
Exactly.
and because they've got all the different vendors that they work with here, you can really get a lot of good information, a lot of things that make future planning easier.
Well, and you can do it in an absolute concentrated way.
Right.
You spend a couple of days here, and you can visit 40 different, solution add-ons, I guess.
Yeah.
And integrations and so forth. It's really a compressed and interesting event. So, with regard to offering advice to folks that were in your position where you were 2 years ago, they might be in that position Q4 of this year, and they're thinking about 2020. What kind of advice would you offer to somebody who's thinking about making a change, potentially a change from a long-term provider, or just trying to get to a next level?
Yeah, I think the very first thing that you need to do is you need to have it very clear within your own mind what it is you expect your solution to do, right? And a lot of people think of backup recovery, well, it's backup recovery.
Right.
But there's really a lot involved in it depending on the data types you have, the amounts of data, the locations that you have. So make
compliance
sure,
issues with regard to compliance
Absolutely.
issues? Certainly one you must have.
Yes. Yeah. But make sure you know exactly what your needs are, and when you talk to Commvault or talk to a VAR that they assign, then they can go through and actually tailor the solution for you. But you need to know up front what it is you're looking for.
That's great advice. Certainly great advice that we would expect you all to appreciate, and I love talking to somebody who's gone through it. We appreciate you sharing everything with us today.
Not a
Thanks
problem.
for swinging by.
Yep, thank you.
You bet.